Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Appreciate you being here as usual. First thing is first, if you love the podcast, you like what I do, you want to support the podcast, all you have to do is to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. That is the biggest help you could do to me. If you want to share it, that's an even bigger help. But if you want to do one step further and you want to support this podcast monetarily, if you want to throw a couple coins my way, I started a Patreon probably like a week or two now. I don't know, a week and a half now maybe. But I started this Patreon. It is a way for you to support the podcast. It is a monthly subscription. You could go to the link in my bio and read more. Basically how it works is you subscribe. Every month, $5 will be taken from your account and thrown into my coin pouch. And that's just a show of good faith for supporting the show. And it's much appreciated. This week we got a couple of more Patreon subscribers. Brian Kennedy, a fan of the show from the beginning. He was a guest on an episode. He's a welder. We talked about blue collar stuff. You know, a great friend, always been supporting. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. Lee and Lore from Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet, they are Patreon subscribers now. A big old thank yous to the three of you. I love you all, you know it, and it is much appreciated. But the reason that everyone is here this week we sit down with Ranger Stevie from the Pittsburgh Park Rangers. Ranger Stevie is someone that I talked to on Instagram. I randomly started following the Pittsburgh Park Rangers Instagram. You could do that right now at PGH Park Rangers. And I started following this and I reached out and I was like, hey, I would love to speak with one of you park rangers. And she hit me back and she was like, I'm kind of the one that does all the PR stuff. So I'll do it. Absolutely. So we set up a time and I got Ranger Stevie in here to talk all about it. We talk about the logistics of the parks. We talk about a little bit of history within the parks. We talk about some wildlife. We talk about the programs that they offer, you know, kind of the day-to-day activities of a Pittsburgh Park Ranger. And we talk about some other great stuff too. Ranger Stevie is super cool. She got a cool life and very interesting how she, you know, ended up being one of our Rangers. You know, she's been doing it for a few years now, and it's cool to hear. You know, I am one that is first to admit I have not utilized the city parks that we have. We have, you know, a crazy number of them. They're all beautiful, and I've probably only been to a handful of them, honestly. And I'm kind of sad to say that. You know, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't know the last time I was in Frick Park. I don't know if it's terrible to say that, but this episode is definitely going to push me to explore all the beautiful things we have within our city. And if you want to stay up to date, follow them on Instagram at PGH Park Rangers. And Ranger Stevie is the one that runs that Instagram account mainly, and she's always doing some great stuff, posting the wildlife in the different parks. She gives you a little bit of information on what's going on in the parks, and it's just a good way to stay up to date and really, you know, get the full effect of what's going on in our city within the city parks. So without further ado, episode 242 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Ranger Stevie of Pittsburgh City Parks.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. And then,
oh my God.
Is that too loud? Does it sound all right?
No, it sounds great.
Okay.
That's so funny.
I know everyone gets weirded out whenever they like their voices in their ears.
Well, your voice too, though. It's like insane to hear it in a different.
Yeah, like clean through a microphone. It's weird. Yeah. I appreciate you coming over today. Friday, you know, do you guys work on the weekend?
So yes, we do work on the weekends.
So what is your off days?
I feel like I don't have off days, more so because I run Instagram.
Yeah.
And I try to keep that super responsive.
Yeah.
And we work very flexible schedules because we have such a small number of rangers for so many parks and so many programs. So I feel like all of us just work all the time.
Yeah, all the time. You're just always on.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
So I came on in 2017. So almost 6 years now.
Been here for a while then.
Yeah.
What were you doing before this?
So I graduated college in 2017, and I was a full-time gymnastics coach.
Oh, wow.
And I also was working at like a wood shop. And I kind of just always dabbled in a lot of things.
What'd you go to school for?
So funny. I thought this would be funny whenever we were talking about it because you wanted to know how we like got into here.
Yeah.
So I pretty much decided that I was going to go to Slippery Rock as a phys ed teacher when I was like in kindergarten because that's what my uncle did.
Yeah.
And I just always loved sports and phys ed. And literally that was where I was going to go. When I got into like my junior and senior year of high school, I only applied to Slippery Rock.
Yeah.
Got into Slippery Rock for phys ed, went into phys ed. And then after my freshman year of college, I decided that a old camp counselor from a Boys and Girls Club worked in Alaska and was like, I think you should apply for a job out here for the summer. And I was like, heck yeah. Love outdoors.
Wow.
So I went and worked in Alaska, and I think I just had like an epiphany. I was just like,
No way.
I was like, yeah, I don't think I can like sit in a classroom building for the 40 years of my life.
Wow.
Yep.
Wait, so you went to school for, I mean, what were you going out there for a job? Like, what was the job?
So it was for Alaska Wildland Adventures, which is one of like the most prestigious like outdoor adventure companies. And I think it was rated pretty high on like in National Geographic. So they have 3 different lodges out in Alaska. And I was just hospitality. So I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
but it was so different because I worked at the Kenai Fjords Glacier Lodge, which is, I honestly can't remember how long the boat ride is out of Seward. So their lodge is out in front of a glacier out of Seward. So you have to take a boat to get to the lagoon / not island, but it's a part of like the Harding.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a part of like the Kenai Fjords. Listen, she's the most, her name's Katie Sismore. She was my camp counselor since I was like a little kid and like.
So you've always been like outdoorsy and into it all? Like,
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
Sheridan in the city. So I was I know I'm like a city kid, but then like my pap had like bought land out in Butler and they built their own hunting camp.
Oh, cool.
So my family's always kind of been like city kids, but like love outdoors.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's Sarah Hines House Boys and Girls Club.
I know the La Rosa Boys and Girls Club. That's the only boys and club, the Boys and Girls Club I know. There was one in McKeesport that we would go to.
So it's in the north side of Pittsburgh, and it's actually, they put an addition on when I was like maybe in 7th grade. I pretty much like lived there as a kid growing up just because my dad was a firefighter for the city.
Yeah.
And I got put in there. But anyways, they have a resident camp that is up in Portersville. And so every summer they have resident camps for boys and girls.
Yeah.
And I pretty much like lived, we stayed up there for, each session used to be like, I think it was like 12 days. So 24 days in total out in the woods.
Yeah.
And you would like wash up in the creek.
Yeah,
Slippery
that's
Rock
awesome.
Creek. Yeah, I'm like here for that. I'm like here for all the bugs, living out in like tents.
Yeah.
And like, so I feel like my life has always just been, even though we grew up in the city, always had like that touch with like the outdoors.
Yeah, it's weird because like I said, I grew up in like McKeesport area, but my uncle was the head of a scout troop.
Oh yeah.
So like I got into Boy Scouts whenever I was 10. Like I didn't go to Cub Scouts. He kind of just let me in with everyone else.
Yeah.
And I was in there for, 8 years.
Yeah.
And it was just like every other weekend, you're just out camping.
Yes.
So it was like such a cool, back then, I had like certain feelings about it, like going every weekend. I'm like, I don't want to be out in the woods. I want to be playing, with my friends in video games and
Yeah.
shit. But it's like, now I'm like, it was the best thing in the world to do.
Yeah. And I think that's the other really great thing about the Boys and Girls Club in the city is that like, you have these inner city kids that have the opportunity to go.
Yeah.
And, you weren't allowed to take your cell phones. So
Yeah.
there's no, obviously cell phone towers have come a long way. So there is service up there now. But back in the day, like you didn't have phones. We didn't have TVs up there. We still don't have TVs or like anything like that.
Yeah.
So everything is just like, you have what you have, and like arts and crafts, high ropes course, and maybe you're making candles or you're down at the waterfront.
Yeah, just doing random stuff.
Yeah, and also chores. They do.
Cleaning up everything.
Yeah, we don't pay other people to clean up after us. Each tent has a chore each day that they have to do, and it rotates. And that's, it's like we do our own dishes, and that's even the smallest girls who are like 6 and 7 have to do the dishes,
fall in line,
have to do pots and pans, and like teaching kids responsibility and having ownership of taking care of where they're living is so important because, a lot of people most people don't like to clean, but it has to be done.
For sure. And that was definitely like something that like, it instilled those values back then.
Yeah.
Whenever you're like, oh, you got your own tent, your own equipment, you got to dry it out, make sure everything's all right.
Yep.
Held you accountable for certain things. That's cool that you had the opportunity to like, kind of get out and do stuff.
I think there's like connections too. Like I said, like Katie's, all these counselors were just such amazing, like, influences to us, and then they went off and did their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how just one job turned my life completely around because I, like I said, decided to go to school for phys ed since I was like a small child. And then just like working there that summer, I was just like, yeah, no, this isn't right.
Yeah, that's
Which,
wild.
to be honest, I'm so happy I did because
I know.
all my poor teacher friends during COVID, I'm like,
I know. It was so bizarre to like, I talked to some of my teachers I'm still friends with on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what's even going on like during the pandemic? And it's just such a weird environment. My sister-in-law is a teacher, and you're just like, no one was ready for it. So it's just strange.
No. And I think they're still like coming back from it, because the kids were, it was just so chill for the kids in a way for so long because the school, schools didn't know what to do, and the teachers were doing all they could.
Yeah.
And even teachers like you doing what you do had to be on video, and they aren't comfortable with that. No
For
one
sure.
signed up for that.
For sure.
So
yeah, it's definitely interesting. So you've always been someone that like gravitated towards it, and like you never been like afraid of bugs, all that stuff.
No, I'm here for bugs. I'm here for everything. Obviously, sometimes like if bees don't give me my space, I'll run. I try to stay calm, but I don't want to get stung either. So.
That's cool though. I mean, like, were you a hunter?
So my dad took me to get my hunting license, and no, I wish I do, like that is on my goal list to do. I'm a little bit of a softie though, but
that's why I stopped. I killed a deer in a bad way. I shot it in the spine and it was still alive.
Yeah.
And you're like, it definitely messed me up because you're like, I think I was maybe 14 or 15 and you're just like, I get it. But now as an adult, you know, you have a different way of looking at things in life.
Yeah, I think in regards to like foraging my own meat for my family, I think yes, I would love to have meat that meat that's, know
where it came from,
how it's treated.
You put that down. It's
exactly. And I think, I do, like, I really hope that maybe one day I could do it. And also, population control in regards to, the deer population. It's out of control.
I know, it's crazy.
So, it's definitely, it's the hunting is necessary. But no, I'm not the great. My dad took me squirrel hunting and told me that I was way too loud and that he could never take me hunting again. So, is not surprised.
So, through this, crazy tangential life, you end up in Alaska.
Yes.
And you work there for, how long did you say it was?
It was probably about 2.5, 3 months. Cause they're only able to open in the summertime, obviously, because of the snow.
Yeah. What's the summer like there? Like, what's the weather?
So when we got there was probably there was probably like 10 to 12 feet of snow.
Oh, shit.
So when you get there like a week early, 2 weeks early before we actually open.
Yeah.
And like we have pictures of us just like shoveling snow.
Wow.
Just like off of the top of the buildings, off of the pathways. And so it was like a weird spring, like still tons of snow, but warm enough to where it was melting.
Yeah.
We obviously were in like, our regular like snow, but it was nice weather. It was I was very rainy from what I remember.
I never remember, I never know what to expect, because like I watch these TV shows like
Yes,
Alaska Frontier,
yes.
and it's like 1 minute it looks like these dudes are sweating and there's a million mosquitoes,
Oh.
and then the next minute it's a tundra.
Right.
So it's like it's
I
wild.
would say out there it was never really like dry, because we were literally off of the Harding ice field, like
Okay,
right
yeah.
below it, and we were like, how it's set up is there's like this lagoon, and then the ice field and the glaciers right here, and our like cabins face that.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of I don't really know what that would be called, but is the ocean. So
That's pretty wild.
yeah, it was the most amazing experience of my life, and I really regret not going back. I didn't go back because of a dude. That was dumb.
Yeah.
I was an idiot.
That's all right.
We all make
Hindsight,
those choices.
yeah.
But it's still like, at least I went that one time
For
for it
sure.
to completely like
How
change my
old
life.
were the kids?
So no kids. It's like, it's adults.
Oh, it's all adults.
Well, it's like an outdoor adventure getaway, like something you would book.
Oh my God. I had like I thought you were like, I don't know why. We were talking about like Boy Scouts, and
Yeah.
for some reason I had it in my mind that
That it
like,
was kids?
Yeah, it was like kids camping.
No, so it's like an outdoor adventure getaway. And
Wow.
you can take your kids.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it was an amazing opportunity. I was very lucky to have that
Yeah.
opportunity, I think, because most normal people, I don't think, are just going.
Yeah, you'd probably be teaching dodgeball right now.
Right.
Kickball or something like that.
Yes. So it's like, and it's just, I think the other problem, it's like funny because phys ed is being pulled from so many schools as well.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like this way, at least we can have more of an impact on children, or like doing different programming and stuff.
For sure.
But also helping them connect with nature, because that's like one of the most important, like even just outside, fresh air.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
in school, like that's the problem. Schools, like you're taking away phys ed and you're taking away recess, when like these kids, that's what they need.
Yeah.
They need to be outside.
Yeah.
Whether they're doing anything or not, or just,
I agree. It's weird. I how old are you? Could I ask?
29.
So I'm 32, and it's like, I feel like our age was like, I didn't have a cell phone until I was like a senior. And it's just weird to think, because like my goddaughter is like 10 or 11, and like,
Yeah.
there's just iPads and all that stuff. And I sound like an old guy, but it's like, I don't know. Do people ride their bikes anymore? Really?
Right.
Do they like go outside, like play deck hockey or something?
Right.
I don't know the last time I seen someone playing deck hockey in the middle of the road.
Right.
And like we would skate a curb.
Yes.
On a skateboard for like 6 hours.
Well, that's like, I feel like whenever we got home from school, like, like the whole street like thing was real.
Yeah,
like,
kids now are in the Matrix with a
With the
Oculus
virtual
Rift.
reality.
Yeah, and you're just like, that was not me. And now I finally feel like the old guy a little bit.
Yeah, I have a almost 3-year-old, so
Yeah.
it's like crazy how we kind of let him have the iPad for a minute to like, because he liked the educational games and he was actually like really good at them.
Yeah,
Which is like just so shocking at how smart our children can be.
for sure.
But he doesn't understand boundaries.
Yeah,
So we actually took it away altogether, just because
it got to be a slippery slope for sure.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think because they can't understand boundaries, it just creates them to have like temper tantrums and
Yeah.
different issues.
Yeah, emotional issues.
Yeah,
about
it really does. I feel like he was like perfect all day, like for everything except for the iPad. So me and my husband were just like, yeah, we just need to cut it off.
It makes sense.
Which, it's just, it's convenient, and I get that. And I get that life is a lot crazier, but sometimes it's just like, it's just not worth it. Like
Yeah.
having that.
It makes sense for sure. I mean, I definitely couldn't even imagine like trying to conceptualize how I would tackle technology with like a kid growing up.
No, and I feel like you said, it's a slippery slope. Like once you start going down it, their behavior, like he like tries to say it's his. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me, like no, and you can't just have, So I think, I think it's been good since it's been a lot better since we've taken it away.
Yeah.
And I think there's just other ways to go about it, and obviously everyone does everything their own way.
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
Totally understandable, but I'm just
I'm
like,
here talking about it. I don't even have a kid. Weighing in on it.
I think also just like picking off of other, like my sister-in-law also introduced the iPad too, and then she regretted it.
Yeah.
And I've done like, it's just like the binky.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
not,
for sure.
again, you don't have kids, but
That's something that my brother's kid right now, it's like she doesn't have a binky now, and it was like a huge deal. And I'm just like,
and so many people with me were just like, yeah, if you don't have to use it, don't use it. So I was like, all right, I'm not using it because I don't want to start a bad habit. So thankfully I didn't use it, and he didn't chew his thumb or suck on his thumb or binky, but he chews on a blanket.
Yeah.
Well, we rotate through.
We all have our vices.
Right.
Yeah, we all have our vices.
So, but yeah, no. So I think just like going back to the Alaska thing, like I think just
that shifted your mindset to like go to school as a ranger. Like, what is this schooling?
So Slippery Rock used to have like a park ranger enforcement program.
Yeah.
But I think they kind of moved away from that. And when I first got in, they were like Parks and Rec and Resource Management.
And that's what you're majoring in.
Yeah, so that's what my degree is in, with an aquatics minor. I've always kind of liked aquatics, like lifeguarding and things like that.
And whenever you did that, like what was like your hopes and dreams in a perfect world to like get in that?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't. Nope, I don't really. All I knew was that Katie Sismore did Parks and Rec, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
So I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I feel like I've kind of always been like a person that just kind of went with the flow of things, which is funny now because I'm learning more that I'm like Pisces, which is water, and like the fish and water. And everyone's like, more people ask me about it than I. But now so many people have asked me what my sign is that I know what it is, and they're like, yeah, your sign's water. That makes sense that you just go with it. And I'm like, all right. Okay, I'm gonna connect more.
My wife is like, she always is like, read your
horoscope.
Yeah, read your horoscope today. And I'm not a skeptic, but it's like it's not something that I read all the time. But it's funny because she'll be like, we'll be having like a good, we'll both be doing good with our business. Something will be going right. She'll be like, you should read your horoscope, and I'll read it. And like, obviously, if I'm gonna read it and there's anything that I could apply to it, you're like, holy shit, this is like my life right now. But she, we were both people that like never really followed it, but she's dipping her toe in it a little bit more.
I was about to say, it's so funny. I literally just read mine the other day, just because I ran into a woman in the park who asked me what my sign was. We met in the park, and she was like, "What's your sign?" And I told her, and she was like, "You go with the flow."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so funny. My supervisor mentioned that to me. I had to go to military training just recently for 6 weeks, and I was down in Mississippi, and I just felt so at peace because I was like right on the ocean.
Yeah.
And it was so nice because she was like, you feel so good down there because like you're near water, and that's like your sign.
You're like, everything's lining up.
I'm like, listen, you know how much I love stream hikes? Like I like hiking, but hiking up streams, like in downstreams, is like my favorite of all times. And I'm like, it
all makes sense.
I love,
Wait, so are you military?
So I am, yeah.
What, like, when does that come? Wait, so you go to school for Parks and Rec.
Okay, yeah.
And that is, what year is that?
So that's like right after my freshman year.
Okay.
My first sophomore semester.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I jumped into I took like 1 or 2 Parks and Rec classes just to try.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, this is the time I need to join the Guard.
Oh, wow.
So then I came back and joined the Guard in December of 2013. And then I went to BMT in May of 2014.
What's BMT?
Basic training.
Oh, okay.
Boot camp.
What made you want to go military?
So my brother's military, and I've just always kind of wanted to go Air Force. I always wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah.
But that kind of, my path kind of got shifted with that as well.
That makes sense.
I have a problem with wanting to do a lot of things.
That's all right. I do. That's like why I started
feel like
this.
Maybe you feel the same way because like you have a full-time job and then you have like
$1,000,000%.
this hobby that you turn into a real thing.
That I make myself sick over 1,000,000%. Absolutely. And then everything that I talk, like any person that I talk to, I'm like, I'm going to do this now. Like whenever I talk to a beekeeper, I'm like, I'm definitely getting bees.
Yes, same.
Definitely getting chickens.
Yes.
All that.
Yes.
So, but every day I'm like, there ain't enough hours in the day. So I got to figure out how to just line that up in my mind.
Yes. I am. Yeah. And then you're like, yeah, and I want to have my own garden.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I've limited myself to, realistically only planting that garden box I have out there. And I've been doing it for the last 2 years. It's great. It thrives. And I'm like, that's scratching that itch.
And at least you're following through with it and your plants aren't all dying.
100%.
And you're actually able to get something
it's
from
good.
it.
That's all I want to do with it. How long were you in the Guard though?
So I'm still in.
Still in.
So I'm still in. I actually just went to Mississippi for training for 6 weeks for admin school. I switched jobs.
Yeah.
So now, which is funny with the horoscopes, because I looked at the horoscopes and it said something would be changing with your job. And just last week, I was told that I'd be moving to a different section in my job.
Oh, wow.
Out of nowhere. But it was so funny because I read the horoscope like 5 days later. And on that date, it said that that's what was going to happen on that date.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I'm like, I can't stand this
yeah,
stuff.
it's weird. It's scary, kind of.
I'm like, and actually I have drill this weekend. So I'll be starting a new kind of
situation there.
Yeah, which I'm excited about. It's like good and fresh. And
That's
I was
cool.
security forces in the beginning and got deployed to Kuwait and Jordan, which was also amazing.
Yeah, that's wild. How long were you over there?
I was over there for about 6 months.
Wow.
Kuwait for like 2.5, and then Jordan for about 2.5. And I decided while I was over there that I was going to rescue a wild dog in the desert.
No way.
Yeah, which is kind of a sad story, but his name was Meatball. He was a little puppy that we found on the base. He was just by himself, and there's a nonprofit organization.
They fly dogs over?
So her husband was like an officer in the military, and they kind of had these stray dogs staying on their compound, and supposedly like some bad person like tried to come and get them, and their dogs attacked them, and one ended up like two of them ended up getting injured. And so they like built such a connection with these military that they like really wanted to bring them home. So they started the I cannot believe puppy rescue mission. There we go. Puppy rescue mission.
Yeah.
And they help troops bring puppies and cats home too.
Wow.
So thankfully I was able to raise money and get Meatball to come home. But Meatball unfortunately was a wild dog. Like there wasn't like domestication in his line.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately had a really hard time with him, and I decided to rehome him whenever I got pregnant.
Yeah.
Because he had unfortunately like attacked someone, and it was just like too much of like, I just couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, you're about to have a kid, you know what I mean?
I think his, like working dogs, like how they have to have a handler who knows how to handle.
For sure.
I grew up with labs.
Yeah. A lab is like
that like is okay on your couch. Whereas like this dog, he almost like.
What was it?
They called him like a Canaan mix. So like, kind of looked like a shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah, so a working dog, like a dog that needs like, you know, a job to do, or it's gonna kind of go nuts a little bit.
Yeah, and even just like just needed someone who knew how to handle a dog like that. And I just didn't he almost created anxiety in me, and then the anxiety fed into him, and he was just so smart.
Yeah.
Like he would
read it easy.
Yeah, like one time we were standing in front of my house and a police car went by when he was like hanging out with his one dog friend. And he didn't like how close the police car went. So after that, any Ford Explorer with police on it, he would literally try to attack it.
No way.
Like, so insane.
That's wild.
But a white Ford Explorer could go back with nothing on it, and it would be perfectly fine.
That's wild.
So it was just like, unfortunately, I rehomed him. He was with a guy for about a year, and unfortunately that didn't work out. So now he's at a long-term sanctuary down in Virginia, which is amazing. The goal would be to hopefully, you know, find land to be able to provide him a safe place to be. But unfortunately, you know, everything kind of but I send him care packages, and I try to like donate some of my photography money to her sanctuary as well, because that's kind of all she does now is rescue pups that obviously can't be homed, and give them at least a safe place to live their life, or try to rehome them if possible. So,
well, even though it's not with you, I mean, he ended up somewhere.
Yeah. He definitely, unfortunately, would have not. I mean, if he was on a military base, they don't allow wild dogs like on the base. They have to be removed. So, but everything happens for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
just like, I get it. I get it. It's a sad story, but I mean, it's better than the outcome that it would have been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm happy about where he's at, and he seems to be doing well. I hope that he actually just turned 5. I made his birthday on National Meatball Day because they said he was born sometime in March. So it just had to be March 9th.
That's Beanball Day?
Yeah, National Meatball Day. So
there you go.
Yeah. So that was like the deployment was an amazing experience, and that was probably the best part of my military experience. And obviously once I got pregnant, I was like, I'm going to switch jobs because admin in the guard just doesn't deploy very often.
Yeah.
And now here I am. This will be my 10th year, and
10th year in there. That's wild.
Yeah.
So when does like when does the job of a park ranger come into play? You go to school for this.
yeah.
And how long do you go to school for this?
So I went to school for a normal 4 years for bachelor's.
For
Parks and Rec and Resource Management.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And the program was actually kind of weird. It was kind of like shifting during my time. It was really focused on like parks and recreation and like the hospitality side of it.
Okay, yeah.
Like almost like as if you were going to
like a state park type thing?
not even state, like some of the classes were really focused on like resort management.
Oh.
Yeah, like being in a resort, because it was like that hospitality side of it. But it kind of was like shifting probably during my sophomore and junior year, and they brought in more teachers that were more focused on environmental.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I would assume that, like, you know, your classes would be like kind of like furthering your education on like, you know, plants and animals.
So so thankfully during my junior and senior year, they hired 2 new professors that we got ecology classes. And I think that's what like really kind of, I've always loved nature, and I've always loved like being able to know what animals are. But like, I feel like most of us look at a tree and they're like, yeah, they're all trees.
Yeah.
Although they're all completely different.
Yeah.
You know, and so like those classes really opened up my eyes to like species identification.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then obviously becoming a park ranger, like it kind of like opened my eyes. Like each year I'm just kind of like,
That's what you wanted to do though eventually?
no,
No.
I was just kind of going to, I don't really know. I feel like I've wanted to do a lot of things. So I never really, I think my main thing that I wanted to do was a phys ed teacher. And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I do want to pursue a career in like being outdoors.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where that was going to go.
Yeah, like what type of like employment you could
I didn't
be
really,
outdoors with.
Right. Yeah. I didn't really care either. Like I said, I've always had like a lot of different jobs. So really after school, I was planning on going and being a full-time gymnastics coach because I like that.
Yeah.
But then obviously my dad, well, that's not really, it's full-time, but you know, no benefits or things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But at which level I was, but then my dad was like, hey, right after, just a couple months after I graduated, my dad was like, yeah, there's 2 park ranger positions open for the city of Pittsburgh.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, I should apply for that. So I applied and passed the first interview, and you had to like put together a program for your second interview, and did that, and got hired, and that's where it all began. And
so 6 years ago you get hired there, and like what is your job whenever you get hired?
So the park ranger program for the city of Pittsburgh is really interesting because it's only about 8 or 9 years. I think it's like 9 years old.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
So before that, there was not park rangers for any of the city parks?
Nope. So it's a very new like program. It's like and it's still very much in its baby phase.
Yeah.
Like, and when I joined, I think at that time there was maybe 6 full-time rangers.
Wow.
Maybe 7 of us so yeah, and that's
How many total parks?
There's 121 parks.
Holy shit.
I mean, that includes like your playgrounds and stuff too. And then you have like your 5 regional parks, which is like your RAD funded parks, which is Emerald View, Highland Park, Shenley Park, Frick Park, and Riverview Park.
Oh, okay.
And to be a regional park, it has to be, I'm pretty sure, like 254 acres, just right around there.
Oh, wow.
So it has to meet requirements to be a RAD park.
What was the first park?
Emerald View.
Emerald View.
So Emerald View, I think, is the newest. Emerald View is Mount Washington, Olive Grandview Ave. And I guess it doesn't really matter because this isn't a video, but just the map of it, Emerald View is a bunch of little parks put together to make it a RAD park.
Yeah.
But it literally goes all the way across Mount Washington and kind of wraps around the West End Circle.
Yeah.
All the way back up into Washington.
That's the first park that's like been around the longest?
Oh, no. No. Allegheny Commons is the oldest park, but it's not considered RAD because it's not big enough, I don't think.
Okay.
So, yeah. Allegheny Commons was established in 1864.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Allegheny Commons is our oldest park. It just had its 150th anniversary, I think, 2 3 years ago.
That's wild.
Yeah, which was cool to be a part of. It was really cool. It's a very it's very wild to be a part of the city parks, like to like realize how long they've actually been around and how.
Yeah, because I would have no idea what you were gonna say.
No, and I mean, and same with like, do you follow Odd Pittsburgh?
Oh
and
yeah,
like
it's a good buddy.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh City Archives, like to be able to see some of those photos of what our parks once were, or
Yeah.
see where memorials once were placed and now they're somewhere else. So it's been, I mean, obviously there's just an endless amount of things to learn about the park, all the parks. But for my first 5 years, I was down in Allegheny Commons in Market Square and Mellon Square. And now I just got moved up to Emerald View.
Oh, okay.
So, but when I started, I mean, it's pretty much we were patrolling the parks, enforcing rules and ordinances, while also doing environmental programming for children and people of all ages. And slowly we've just been growing and trying to get more people on our team and hire more people, which we have since COVID. Obviously, COVID put a big hold on a lot of stuff, but now we have 7 or 8 full-time rangers, and we just hired over the past couple months 5 and a couple more part-time rangers.
Wow.
So we're definitely,
so it's growing pretty good.
Yeah, it's growing, and it's really, it's exciting to see it growing and being able to provide just more opportunities to interact with, the people of Pittsburgh, because I'm going to say this, and no one knows we exist.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I came across the Instagram, I think, and I was like, Park Ranger. And, obviously it immediately made me curious about it because I didn't know it was a thing. Yep. Because my whole thought is how do parks even come into play? Like who runs these things? Who's responsible for them? Like, it's pretty interesting to think about that.
Well, and it's really confusing when you have a state park in the center of the city.
Yeah.
And you think, so, and that's where it gets confusing because most people are like, you're a park ranger, so are you for the state? But we're city park rangers, so we're not law enforcement.
Yeah.
We're just city rangers. So
like your everyday, like you go down there and it's like, do you have different like things that you have to do? Like your Instagram, I was seeing you were like walking through and like, kind of just like checking things out and making sure,
So, during the pandemic, I think that's when like obviously social media became like very important because people weren't coming outside anymore.
Yeah.
But we were outside still. So, and we were I think like that's a big time where our Instagram really took a flip to try to provide programming through social media.
Yeah.
And I think from there, and I also with loving photography and loving nature photography, I was like, yeah, this is perfect. So I kind of took Instagram on myself and just kind of like grew it into whatever I wanted to grow it into. Yeah. And thankfully the city has been extremely supportive of that. And that's definitely been a big learning curve because I'm definitely not the most like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I definitely have like my Pittsburgh ease.
Yeah. You're not like a refined influencer.
Yes.
Like
no, not at all.
Polished influencer.
Yeah. So like getting on Instagram, like putting my face on there for the first time was like extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I would like delete things a million times and do them a million times in the woods. But I think over time, like I've gone a little better. For
sure. And I think the way that you do it is still, it's still like authentic feeling. Right. It's not like, an influencer, you're like, oh, I have this brand, we're in a paid partnership. Yeah. And that's why I'm very just like raw whenever I'm doing my stuff. If I put videos out,
obviously like I have to be a little careful because I am representing the city
for sure. And that's understandable.
For sure. But for the most part, it's nice that the city is like, okay with that. And, they like what we do on Instagram and they let me do things like this and go on to Pittsburgh Today Live and go on to other things, which I think is great because unfortunately, unless you run into me in the park, which is probably rare, just because our paths have to cross,
Yeah.
The chances of us meeting aren't as possible as if like at least everyone's on social media.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm super, passionate about getting experiences with like, people who are doing stuff like this or the news or whatever,
sure.
just to spread our.
Well, who even initiated the whole program of a park ranger?
So I honestly am not sure who initiated it. I think that communities wanted park rangers in the parks.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So I think that's where it all started. And then our lead ranger, John Furman, had worked for the city for a long time. And I think, he was presented with, now this is, I don't know this for exact.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think he was like, they had this idea and the city really wanted it. And John was like a good fit for it.
Yeah.
And they created the program. And there was only like 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 rangers, 3 rangers that first started it, I think. That kind of were like there when it first started.
Yeah, like so is John like the guy who's like, all right, well, let's figure out how to do this. So like, is he the guy who's like building like, what the job is out basically? Or do you have like a bigger organization that's like, this is what you guys should be doing right now?
So it's kind of weird because we used to be with city parks and then we got transferred to public safety. Yeah. So I think, there are people that write out our job descriptions. I don't think it's necessary. I think John, obviously probably works hand in hand with them. And so does our new senior program ranger, which is Erica Hyde. We were able to open up like a new senior position. So that's Erica. And that's happened over the past couple months, which is super great for our programming. I mean, she actually just sent me a photo of like her programming, like closet. Cause obviously like we had to build all this. Like this didn't, and we don't have all of us don't have offices.
I was just
either.
gonna say, where's home base?
No, so I never had a home base down in Allegheny Commons. So my home base was just like any coffee shop or anyone that would like let me into like use their bathroom or let me sit there to work on my computer.
Yeah.
Frick has an office space. Shenley has an office space. And Riverview has an office space. And us up at Emerald View, we use. Have you ever been to Grandview Park?
Yeah, I've been to Grandview.
So do you know the like black building there?
I think so, yeah.
So it's called the Bandstand, and inside there, that's where our office is right now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and I just moved in there this past fall, and then I actually got a part-time ranger as well. So we're slowly getting established as well. I think this is like probably our biggest year of like growth and getting established and really increasing our programming. So it's and it's nice because we're just so supported as well by like our senior lead ranger, our head ranger, John. He's very laid back and kind of just like trust us to go full throttle, and most of us do.
Well, what are your responsibilities as a park ranger?
I think just like everything at this point now. So enforcing rules and ordinances.
Like what like leashes on unless it's an unleashed area.
Yeah.
I heard you say today no foraging in the parks. I didn't know that was a thing. That's interesting. What's the reasoning behind that?
I think I think the thing is like proper foraging and keeping things the way they are in a park.
Yeah.
Just because some of our parks are smaller spaces, like they're not like big, just wooded area. Obviously they're
it's
big.
not like Mingo Park where it's like
exactly.
Acres upon acres where people can go.
And to be honest, I don't know. What's interesting about the whole foraging thing is like foraging is becoming extremely popular, and I think it's. Who knows when the foraging thing was stated in the city rules years ago. You know what I mean?
I would have never even thought about that. I thought it was interesting when you said that today.
Yeah, because morel season is coming around.
Yeah.
I learned about those just a couple years ago. My mind was absolutely blown. So I'm like, listen, just tell me where you found the morels just so I can take pictures of them.
Yeah.
And whatever you do after I walk away, there's nothing, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, but I'm sure people definitely go in there and grab whenever they do.
Oh, for sure.
But the reasoning behind it is to kind of keep things, beautiful and
It's just leave no trace,
For sure.
if, just like someone else could possibly see it. And I think just, preserving a place and doing things correctly as well, which, you're not going to be able to make sure everyone does that, which is why I just think overall the city's just no one remove or damage,
Yeah.
So it's just like
You want to keep this place beautiful.
yeah, exactly.
What I mean, like, what's the punishment for people that leave their dog excrement on the ground? Because I feel like that I would like to tar and feather people, and I know that as a ranger, you gotta be just like nuts over it.
Listen, so I have to say that obviously, I get it in regards to sometimes like some people accidentally forget their bags, but at least like maybe flick it off. Like I just saw this post about like
Stick it, stick it and flick it.
And I'm like, please just do that rather than put it in a bag and then throw your bag.
Oh,
that's the one.
crazy.
That's the thing. Like I can't comprehend it. I don't. So obviously that's super frustrating, and
that's my biggest pet peeve is like, because one of the listeners were like, what's our biggest pet peeve is a park ranger. And I immediately thought of mine and I was like, it would be dog shit. Like I want to just like hide in a bush with a paintball gun and just like, lay into someone because it makes me so angry. Even around here, just on the road, there's just piles everywhere. I'm right on the trail, the Montour Trail.
Yeah.
It's insane how much poop is there.
Yeah. And I don't really like get it either. Like, I just don't understand. Like, one time I went to like go take a photo of something and I kneeled literally into a pile of dog poop. I was so upset.
Yeah. Like I would be like burning inside with rage.
And it's so hard because the only thing that I have found to work well, and I'm not sure if it actually, I try to have very positive experiences, even if it's a negative one.
You're not going to be like berating people like, pick up that.
Well, I just want people to be like receptive, which obviously if you're aggressive.
Attract more bees with honey.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of times I try to carry poop bags with me so that in case someone doesn't, or honestly like doesn't have one, at least I can offer one.
Yeah.
Or I'll just like occasionally sometimes like pick up dog poop.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Just because, not all the time because obviously I don't have bags with me, but just being a good role model, I guess, as a park ranger. Like there's nothing I can do now other than either flick it somewhere or pick it up myself.
Yeah, you're not going to attack someone for doing it. So you got to just take the high road.
Yeah, and you just hope that maybe someone would,
everyone, the thing that's crazy in my mind is like everyone who's walking their dogs, if they're like, oh, my dog just went to the bathroom, like, oh, it's just one pile. I'll keep going. But it's like, how many people are doing that and having that same thought?
And the thing is like, okay, but what if you have like children or anything? And
it's my biggest pet peeve.
And they walk into, it, like at least move it to the side. Or
100%. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I don't.
There's some good questions, so I'm going to just sprinkle them in as
my biggest pet peeve. Well, so my biggest pet peeve right now is probably dogs off leash.
Okay, yeah.
And I say that, and I want to also make it very clear that like I understand how much fun it is to have a dog off leash.
Yeah.
I grew up with like our dogs off leash all the time. Not necessarily in like public parks or anything, but like on our own property and whatnot. So I like understand that like feeling of like having your dog and letting them be off leash and whatnot. So, and the reason I literally get so many messages of people having bad interactions with people's dogs off leash. And that upsets me because our parks are a public space and everyone needs to be safe in them and feel safe in them. I mean, there's literally people that don't go into our parks because they've had such bad interactions with people's dogs being off leash.
For sure.
And I think I didn't really understand it my first couple years into being a park ranger, but when I had Meatball didn't like to be approached on leash.
Yeah.
And so, some people have control over their dogs, but some don't.
Some people just don't.
And
it ruins it for everyone.
Yeah, and they're perfectly okay with their dog being off leash. And I'm like, well, listen, if your dog comes up to my dog, like I can't stop my dog from, and I don't obviously want my dog to harm you. But
you don't want to create that situation. Like that's why there's rules to avoid these situations.
Exactly. And people, even if your dog isn't necessarily like fully friendly with other dogs.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that my dog isn't going to be as receptive. So if my dog gets pissed and bites your dog, it's going to cause all this shit.
And also it's a public space. So and that's why there is off leash exercise areas. Are there enough? No. There's always a need for more spaces for dogs to be off leash for sure. We totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But that stuff takes time.
For sure.
And there's like requirements and stuff for that. So
that makes sense though as a big pet peeve. Like it just and it's not even like like a huge deal, but it's probably like the volume of how many times it happens. It's just like kind of an annoyance.
Even for people who don't have dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of problems are like people are afraid of dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
There's people that literally won't go back to a park because they are just afraid of dogs and people don't have them on leash. And so at the end of the day, that's not okay. It's a public space. Everyone needs to be responsible and respect the rules because they're there for safety.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're there so everyone can enjoy them. And as well, these parks aren't our home. They're the wildlife, the wildlife that lives in them. And say your dog runs into a baby fawn on the ground and just tears it apart, or
that's a good point.
or you know what I mean? Like runs into a baby fox or runs into a baby owl on the ground. And you know what I mean? Like just one chomp at a baby owl and it's going to be done for. And so like, it's just being more respectful as well to the animals that actually do call the parks their home.
Absolutely.
So I think it's much more in depth than people realize.
Yeah.
And I think like only because I experienced my experience with Meatball and then I experienced with people like sharing that they were actually afraid of dogs.
Well, people do this until they're put in a position where they have that experience where a dog attacks theirs or theirs attacks. And like, because as a dog owner, it's like, I will be completely transparent. I'm ready to gank a dog if it's attacking my dog.
Oh,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Like,
I think
people have to be
anyone would be.
realistic about it.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, and we get a lot of feedback for the off-leash exercise areas too. It's very hard to be in an off-leash exercise area as well because, we have all these people and some people pay attention to their dogs and some people don't.
Yeah. And they just, I get it.
And so then you have issues there too, because people don't want to take their dogs to the dog park because other people aren't paying attention and
for sure.
And keeping them, they're like a toddler. You gotta,
Absolutely.
So it's a very tough subject. But it just really, makes me upset because obviously people don't feel comfortable to come into the parks because of how much of an issue it can be sometimes.
Yeah.
And so.
And it ruins it. It ruins people's, opportunities to enjoy the city parks and like what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. And I think, and
do you guys give out tickets?
So we do give out tickets, but it's also very difficult because you can easily, unfortunately, just walk away from us. We're not police. So
that's crazy.
So, we're just walking around. So it's not like I'm going to chase someone.
Yeah. It's more on like good faith. Like, if you're going to reprimand someone for it.
Yeah. And we do need, animal control as well involved, and animal control is very low on manning as well too.
Yeah.
And so it's a very difficult.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to like,
and that's almost with
it.
everything. Like that's, with cars parked on grass and things like that. Like we have to, there's just some things we can't take care of on our own.
Yeah.
So police need to get involved or animal control needs to be involved.
That makes sense.
And so it definitely makes it a little harder to,
keep things running smoothly.
and to actually hold people accountable because, and also like no one here is going to, most people for the most part, thankfully just are very nice. Like I've never had any bad situations.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think we've only had one or two and the police did have to get involved, but nothing really.
For the most part, people are good.
For the most part, some people get really upset about it and, say some words. And I just honestly am like, have a great day because I'm not.
What can you do?
Once we cross paths.
Are you going to get in a fight with someone over that?
Right. I'm not going to chase you, especially not right now with this baby. I can barely take a load of laundry up my steps without my heart rate going to like 100.
Yeah. So, it's got to be interesting for sure to just experience it all. But now, what is your favorite park?
Oh, no. So Allegheny Commons was like obviously always my favorite just because that's the first place I was ever put.
Yeah.
But then I've had this like really, I've like created this very special sweet spot for McKinley Park over in the Balsuver area.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that there's like trails that go up in the woods behind the fields.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Are they by the skate park?
Yeah. So right there at the skate park, actually, you can park and go up into the woods there. And there's just like the dreamiest trails. I don't know why.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've been to that skate park all kinds of times. Which
that skate park is actually like on my agenda to kind of help potentially
revitalize.
Yeah, try to help them like get money that they need. Because,
that's cool.
Yeah, but more so definitely try to keep like get the people who truly take care of it involved because I know that they care about that and they've taken care of it and they are the people who take care of it.
Yeah, for sure. You need to link up with a skate shop, the local skate shop.
I do, yes.
I can link you up with them. I've talked to him. He's a good buddy on here. But
Yeah, no, that would be
that would be cool to like try to figure out some way to do that.
Yeah, for sure, because it definitely needs some TLC.
And he's always down to kind of do some fundraising type of stuff to
and that's what, and I want to
happen.
make sure that they definitely like got a little sense, like touchy, like when I posted about just like having my eyes on it, they were like, "Whoa, what you doing, Stevie?"
Yeah,
I'm like, no, don't worry. I just want to like do whatever I'm not here to change anything. I'm here to talk to whoever the community is that uses it to try to do whatever I can.
Yeah, not like
to get you the resources.
Yeah, not take control of it, but almost just like help you out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool though. That's cool.
So that's on my radar. Obviously, like with being pregnant though.
Things get put on.
Yeah, so I think they're probably perfectly okay with that since I think they've been managing it. And they probably don't want too many people in their business, which I also understand that as well. But
for sure,
just know that like I'm here to support. Not here to get my.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's it's nice that you have that connection too.
Yeah, for sure. We'll figure that out after this. What is now? I'm curious. Like with all the the trash that's in there, it's like what is is there like processes like implemented on the reason that I even started thinking about this is like if there's a storm and a tree goes down over a trail or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like. Is it your job to walk these parks to try to make sure everything is still good like that?
Yeah. So after storms and stuff, the Rangers definitely will patrol the parks to try to identify where trees are down or if there's just safety issues.
Yeah. And any sort of other things like trash, like cleanups or anything.
We have my goodness, we have had so many cleanups. And which actually, if you go to the City of Pittsburgh website, we have events. So again, slowly growing, but we finally have monthly events listed on the City Parks website. Yeah. So we do cleanups all the time. We do tree plantings. And the tree removal stuff obviously isn't really for volunteers.
Yeah.
That's definitely DPW.
Well, what do you do about the cleanup? If you said there's a handful of Rangers, it's do you enlist volunteers? Do you work with different organizations?
Yeah. So we pretty much sometimes we'll just do open cleanups. So I actually, so right before I left, I did, smash and trashes. Have you heard of the spotted lanternfly?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
someone actually put in one of the questions. They were like, I did a spotted lanternfly smashing event.
I wonder if they came to mine.
I think so. Name was Tori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I actually need to get you connected with her too, because she's a local blogger here in Pittsburgh.
I just started following her today.
And I teamed up with her, and she should maybe be one of your potential.
Yeah, I definitely had the curiosity after I looked at her. It's right up my alley.
Yeah, so I did a smash and trash where we focused on smashing the lanternfly egg masses while also picking up trash.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll do them. Obviously, there'll be signups, or sometimes we'll have local Boy Scout groups just looking for volunteer work.
Yeah.
Or businesses looking for volunteer hours, like Allegheny Commons cleanup.
Oh yeah.
What the Muck, where we clean up Lake Elizabeth. Have you ever heard of that?
I think so. Is that with Allegheny Cleanways?
Yeah, so it's Allegheny Cleanways and Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy and Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy hosts it, and I think they work in hand with Allegheny Cleanways.
Yeah.
So that event, obviously that event has kind of grown. I think in the past it was sign up volunteer based, whereas now I think they have 2 business organizations that just have a lot of volunteers.
Oh, wow.
The past, I think 2 or 3 years they've done it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and it's really cool to kind of work with bigger corporations.
Yeah. We did something like that whenever I worked at FedEx. We did we rehabbed a trail out in Moon or something like that.
Yep.
These spotted lanternflies, I still have never seen one. Are they everywhere?
So they will be everywhere once spring so right now is when the egg masses will be hatching from last fall.
Yeah.
So the babies, the nymphs will definitely start emerging here with the warmer weather.
So we should just kill them all?
Yeah. I mean, you can, I can't, once they get big, man, I can't, they're probably the size of this bottle cap, maybe a little bigger. They're beefy.
Yeah.
They're beefy bugs. I'm not really here to kill them once they're that big. like when they're in their egg sacs,
Yeah.
sure.
Then you could do it.
And I just like, I have a weird thing with like bugs that come in like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't mind
Like
ants.
a locust or something like that.
Locusts I'm like okay with because they're bigger.
Yeah.
But even like ants or like the
Okay, I get what you're saying.
in the spotted lanternfly, so like the one big problem with it, which is why, well, one, it eats a lot of our crops that is used for like agriculture here in PA.
Yeah.
So obviously it's destroyed a lot of our crops, which is why it's such an issue.
Yeah.
But it also secretes honeydew, which is, it creates black mold.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any other insect that like, if you stand under a tree filled with locusts that you feel like you're getting pooped on.
Oh, that's wild.
Whereas if you're standing under a tree of heaven and it's infested with spotted lanternflies, it feels like you're getting rained on.
Oh, weird.
And that's them like secreting their like because they're eating the sap from the yeah. It's like so, I've never like really experienced that with like another bug.
Yeah.
So and unfortunately, like that kills the understory down below.
Yeah, and it ruins all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so that's another reason why it's such a big problem as well, is because it creates that mold, and you actually like see that black mold if a tree is infested or like space is infested with them. You'll see
That's
the
interesting.
growth. Yeah, the growth of the mold from the honeydew. So
That's wild.
Yeah, so that's been, and actually I'm hoping to team up with Heather from her Abraham from her new talk show, Talk Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to do a walk through and find some egg masses and do a little like.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even know what they would look like. That's the thing. That would be interesting.
You got to go on our Instagram highlights.
I will. I'll have to look through them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to start killing some on the trail. Yeah. I mean, like, now as you're like, how do you personally advance your education with like plants and animals? Like, what do you do? Do you guys have like, schooling that you have to go to?
So actually we do go to a Park Ranger Institute every year. And it has like different classes down in North Carolina that you can sign up for.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's probably our one like yearly thing that we get to do. And it's an array of different things with it's with law enforcement rangers as well, from like, it's rangers from all over the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, and some are law enforcement and some are not. So I think that obviously that's a big educational opportunity for us each year. And they have different programs such as like a reptile program, like learning how to catch snakes if you need to.
Do you do that?
I would if I needed to, but
Yeah.
Have you seen the black rats are out in Frick Park?
Oh,
and
they're
everyone's gonna go crazy. I love black rats.
Yeah.
They're just so like, I don't know what it is.
They're intimidating, but like they're harmless.
Right. I don't really think I'm not intimidated by them, but I'm just like, hey, how's it going?
I saw you post that yesterday. I think it's cool that you do like, tag some of the things that you see in the park.
Yeah.
Different species and stuff
And that's
like
been
that.
something I'm really not a professional at that either. And that's why that's very intimidating to me sometimes to be on Instagram, because obviously I want to make sure that my identification is correct.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't post a ton of mushrooms and stuff unless I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
Same with little birds too. Bird identification
It's difficult.
Yes. Some of
There's
those,
so many of them.
So many of them. So, and it's hard to kind of balance when you're like being a park ranger and you're being here in the parks.
Yeah.
And then you're also running social media, but you're also trying to be present on the story.
Yeah, for
while
sure.
also providing educational, like true educational content for like the feed. But then you also have programming to do for kids.
I think it's fascinating that it's like that new, like of a thing, like 9-10 years, like it's that new of it all. And like, obviously you're building, it's still an ever growing like thing.
And that's what's nice about it though. I think it's because the city is so supportive of it as well. They kind of let us do like whatever they're very supportive of whatever we want to do, which is so nice because there's just so many different things we can do.
Yeah.
And that makes the job never boring because your just horizons are endless.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, whenever, do you have any idea of like someone was asking, how do parks get their names? Like, they are like established, I would guess, right? You said the one is 150 years old.
Yeah. So Allegheny Commons, so I think obviously Allegheny Commons, that used to be Allegheny City.
Yeah.
So it was the common area for like, to bring like their sheep and different things. I mean,
that makes sense.
The Commons has been an array of things. I mean, the one prison, a penitentiary used to be over there as well. like where the aviary is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So, and like obviously, Mellon Park and Frick Park are all.
That makes sense.
So, and honestly, I haven't dug too deep. I mean, Emerald View Park, I would only assume that it's called Emerald View because if you look at it right now, it is all of Emerald View. I've actually never read into the name, to be quite honest.
That's interesting. It made me curious. I'm gonna have to figure that out. There was people that were asking things like, what happened? Like, do you have if you have like a hive of bees or something like that? It's like, is this part of the job where it's like, you just gotta figure out if you got like I would assume they said, is there a beekeeper that the city uses for different hives, or do you have hives in any city parks?
So we don't have any hives in the city parks as of right now, but I'm pretty sure that there are supposed to be a pollinator garden put into Emerald View soon, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have honeybees. Now, I'm not sure who will maintain those honeybees.
Yeah.
I assume that it would probably be an organization that, has helped like put them in, but I'm honestly not 100% sure with that. And as we're in regards to like a wild honeybee hive, Sweet Meadow Apiaries, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he is a beekeeper. He does like, he also has his own business in regards to like removing like wasps and things like that.
That makes sense.
But he also specializes in rescuing honeybees.
Yeah, like transporting hives.
And relocating them. Yeah, and he actually has like a whole field of hives that he has just, of wild honeybees.
So what happens with like, do you have like, is there any like instances where you got to like remove different wildlife from like the parks or anything?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously like
are you yourself working with any sort of wildlife at all? Like I imagine as a park ranger, like, oh, you got to go get this snake out of the dog park or something.
So typically if there's I think the snakes know to stay out of the dog parks. I hope. But like we've had tons of things with like ducks in Highland Park, whether they're getting stuck on fishing line or they're just injured, or people drop, like during this time of year, people drop a lot of ducklings off because they use them for photos, or they just get them for their kids for Easter. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is like a lot of work and I don't have space for them.
That is ridiculous.
So they drop them off in Highland.
Someone asked that. Someone said, you ever have any problems with domestic animals getting dropped off?
Yeah,
there?
so we definitely, so Highland Park is probably one of the biggest, at Lake Carnegie, one of the biggest drop-offs. I mean, out of any of the parks for domesticated animals. And thankfully, we work with the Verona Pet Rescue out there.
Okay,
I'm blanking on the name, but we have a super great connection with them. And if we ever need help, they actually just recouped a goose that was injured, had like, I'm like blanking on, he had some type of bone issue, and they were able to get him antibiotics, and they kept him for 3 weeks and let him rehab. And then
that's great.
We released him back into the park.
Well, what happens with like, if you have any like instances with like, rabid animals or things like that? Like what's the process if that comes into play?
So there's the county definitely does trapping at times, I think, to check animals. We don't deal with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's just like not in but they'll let us know that they're like coming in to trap, to let us know that they're doing that.
Yeah.
And they test the animals to make sure, obviously.
So you guys are more just like the function of the park and like, making sure everything is running smoothly.
Yeah, more so just the presence and the eyes and ears of like everything, and seeing, and if there are issues, knowing, if we can take care of it, we will.
Yeah.
Like dead animals in a park, if a dead animal needs removed, a lot of times like animal control can't get to it or whatever. So we'll go and take care of like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like say a deer got injured but isn't fully dead, then we'll have to call police so that they can put it down. Yeah. And then obviously animal control can come and remove it.
Do you guys got a lot of like coyotes and stuff in the parks?
I think Frick Park, Emerald View definitely does. Frick Park, I've gotten tons of people reaching out to us recently, sharing that they've seen them.
That's interesting.
It is interesting because I've actually never seen one. I've seen some foxes, but never a coyote.
There's some wild ones like right on this back hill here.
Oh, I bet you hear them, right?
Oh yeah, I got some crazy videos. I'll show you after. It's like they sound like they just like murdered a deer. Oh, it's just like it sounds like there's 15 of them just like cackling.
I was about to say we've definitely gotten pictures of things that like I definitely don't share to the Instagram because there's just some things that don't need to be shared.
What, like a dead animal carcass? Yeah. Just like a deer that got destroyed.
Yeah, and we're city people are city people. We're not used to seeing that.
I know it's part of life though. Some of these questions that were interesting. One of them was, what is the grossest or worst thing you found in the park?
Okay, the wildest or the grossest thing that I found. I'm trying to think of like the wildest, like, I think maybe like the wildest thing that our Rangers have ever done is probably rescued a missing dog and then adopting it.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is like pretty awesome.
Do you have people that like will drop off cats and dogs down there?
Oh, dogs are, I'm not sure if they drop them off. Definitely, unfortunately in Frick, there's definitely been, whether they were dead or not, dropped down in Frick, like down near 9 Mile. But I don't know if people's dogs just get lost and they wander into the woods. But Frick Park and Shenley Park seem to have a lot of lost dogs. Terrible. Yeah, but it's super great because we have a couple rangers that work with some of the local shelters. And Erica is a prime example. She is so great with handling dogs that are stressed and lost in our parks. And like I said, it took her, I think she told us a week or two to get this dog to finally like trust her. And she ended up actually adopting it after.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is, amazing that dog was able to find a home and that we have people like that on our team who can handle doing that type of work.
Yeah. That type of situation.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool then. What is one thing you wish people knew about the parks?
Oh, maybe how many there are.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild to think about that.
I don't think people like really realize how many just like little secret oases there are here in our city of just like green spaces.
What's like your favorite one that's not really known?
I think McKinley is not very known, to be honest, but even like Sheridan Park, even Emerald View.
Yeah.
I mean, Emerald View is it's weird because it's broken up. It's not one piece.
Yeah, but up there, I'm going to have to check it out for sure.
So like the Overlook?
Yeah.
The Overlook is technically considered Emerald View.
Oh, okay.
So like that's kind of weird because it's all cement.
Yeah, I swear my buddy told me about this place and was like, I just ran into this crazy park.
Yeah, and it
has to be it.
Yeah, I was about to say, so Emerald View is like super cool. And if you start like up on the point of view, like the point of view is where the statue of, I think it's George Washington in the Native American are up at the top there. That's like a trail that goes down and wraps around.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The hillside. I mean, and you end up down at Greenleaf. But even if you go to Greenleaf and hike in there, that's another little section I love as well.
Huh.
And that's where there's parking. So
that's good to know.
Yeah.
What's the scary? You ever had any scary experiences in the park?
I mean, unfortunately, if you're ever dealing with someone who might be like on drugs or something.
Oh my God. I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm thinking of like, almost get bit by a snake.
I know.
Or
Isn't it weird
like
that because I worked in Allegheny Commons.
No, that makes sense though.
A lot of my stuff is all like human based, but I mean,
is that a reality? Is there like a lot of like homeless that are living in these like parks and stuff?
There aren't a ton living there, but unfortunately
congregate there
on the east side of the Commons, there are a lot of issues with homeless and drug use.
Yeah.
And obviously you get people in like states of mind that aren't safe.
Yeah.
So, I've definitely like ran into uncomfortable situations.
That makes sense.
I've never had any like awful issues.
That's good.
Which is really good. And I grew up in the city, like I said, like I went to Allegheny for middle school.
Yeah, so you're kind of know the territory.
Yeah, and also like everyone is a human.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the way I like to see it. Like, obviously I don't like that those types of behaviors are happening around like playgrounds and stuff like that. But the only way that I'll ever like get through or actually make a person feel comfortable enough to at least allow me to help them is just to treat them like a human.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's worked out super well for me.
That's good.
Yeah, but in regards to like nature,
like if you're out, like have you ever been like out where you've been like freaked out, seen anything like weird?
No, I don't think I have. No. If anything, like maybe I've accidentally not paid attention because I was trying to take a picture and almost fell over a hillside. Which then, yes, in that moment I was like having a quick heart attack. But no, I haven't really seen anything too. I haven't seen anything too wild.
Yeah.
I think someone sent me a photo of like a chipmunk
eating a snake, wrestling a snake. And I'm like so sad I haven't ran into that situation yet because I just want to see it happen.
Yeah, you want to see it in real life.
I can't believe it's, So like, but no, I have never been really like scared. No, maybe, no.
That's good then.
Yeah.
What are your goals, as far as what you're doing?
My goal is to obviously have like as much as a presence on Instagram just to get the Park Ranger program known.
Yeah.
And then we're starting, programming is always important to us. I don't know exactly like where we have a junior ranger program that we used to have in the fifth grade schools on the north side, just some of them, not all of them. And I think one of our main goal for the whole entire park ranger program is to have that program across the entire city, not just on the north side.
Yeah.
So I think like getting into schools and being able to like connect all of our schools to the parks in our program is like definitely a big goal for our program.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I guess, just trying to find ways to connect with more people in Pittsburgh, because if they don't know about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I lived here my whole life and I've been to maybe like 3 of the parks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm perfectly guilty of not, experiencing what we have to offer.
And I think that's a lot of us too, though. Like,
absolutely, it is.
You almost don't even realize it, and you don't realize the free resources that the city does have in regards to parks.
Yeah.
And that's the other crazy thing is like most times when I go into like these trails, like I'm by myself.
Yeah.
There's literally no one in them. Like McKinley, I maybe see one person every once in a while.
What's the coolest animal experience that you've had?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I've had probably the owls. I feel like I have this like weird thing with nature where I just kind of like connect with it. And then like in McKinley one time I was walking in there and I just felt the need to like look up to my right, and I looked up to my right and there was just a owl sitting there.
Oh wow.
And I was like,
that's cool.
And I was like, yeah, you could tell that it was a juvenile. Like it definitely, I don't think he ended up staying.
Yeah.
I think he was just kind of like flying through. He obviously probably left his parents, or who knows, maybe they are there and I just don't see them very often. So, that was really cool. And then even just the black rat snake the other day, the fact that I was able, like his head was literally just like 2 inches out and I just happened to look down and he was right there.
Yeah.
I think and thankfully I get to have those experiences, but I think also the people of the parks, like thankfully they send us their stuff that they see.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. Like some lady just sent me a video just before I got here of a turtle like running. She's like, is this normal? Did it get dropped here? And I'm like, and I had to look at it for a second and no, it's just a box turtle that it's warm out and it is running. I don't know where it's going, but
last year we were riding down the road probably around this time, and there was a turtle in the middle of the road and I pulled over to the side and I grabbed it, and my first immediate thing, my wife was like, what are you going to do? I was like, I think someone lost this. And I was like, my wife was like, no, it's a wild turtle, just put it put it off to the side. And then I did, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But that was my first, I
think a lot of people think that. I think it's because you really don't see them. They're very,
you have the good, you have good in your heart. You want to hope for the best.
Yes,
of it all.
for sure. And I think, and that's another great thing with our Instagram is that it really has given us an opportunity to connect with people.
Yeah. And a way to further some education a little bit.
Yeah. And just message us. I've had so many people message us and be like, is this supposed to be here?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, it is supposed to be here. Thanks for reaching, and that's and it's also really cool to see the park through our park users' eyes.
Yeah.
Because obviously there isn't many of us and we're not in every single park. And that's what I kind of like about my position is where I'm kind of lucky with Instagram. I can kind of bounce around to any park and go and show it on our story, which is good because if not, no one would know that was a park or know that we go there.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to give some of those parks that maybe don't get that much attention, like our big rad parks, like Frick and stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, our Frick Park, the users there are extremely supportive of the Instagram. If we did a Frick Park pool, I would assume that a lot of our followers are from that area.
And
or just love
park.
Frick, which is great. And we appreciate the support. And
is that the most popular?
I would say so.
Yeah.
And which would make sense because of the community. So.
Well, that does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, they're right there. So many people literally call Frick their backyard, you know?
Yeah, I need to go to more of these parks and experience them more.
Heck, oh my goodness, yes.
Did you say you picked a favorite one? Oh yeah,
no.
you said.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you did. Didn't you say Emerald? Or no, you said Allegheny Commons because that's where you had a.
That's where I started,
yeah,
but
I guess.
I don't know. I like them all. I'm not sure if I have a favorite.
That's a fair answer.
They're all amazing.
Okay, well, you think there's anything that I forgot to ask you about as far as the park rangers? You know, we talked about a bunch of different stuff.
No. I think it's just get out in your parks, go out, you know,
Yeah.
and experience nature. Everyone needs it. It's
yeah.
therapy for everyone. Free
Absolutely.
therapy.
What do they? I saw the trend on TikTok, forest bathing. Have you ever seen that?
I feel like I have. I feel like I've definitely heard of it.
It's just like a random. It'll just be like someone like grabbing a blanket and like walking into the woods, and then they'll like it'll just cut to them like laying on the ground in the leaves with like a sunbeam on them, and it looks great. Like
I mean, it's definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people forget how important it is to get outside.
yeah, and just put your phone down.
Even just for, and you know what? I actually saw someone. Where was I? I can't remember where I was at. But I saw this woman just like she had bare feet. And I was like, you know what? I need to take my shoes off more. But sometimes I'm like, I need to be like grounded.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we like forget
like that
about
guy
it.
on Naked and Afraid who just doesn't wear shoes at all.
I'm not sure about like all of that. But I know I said that the other day because I was like so hot down in the Commons. And I had my hiking boots on. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to take my shoes off.
Yeah.
But the Commons is just like.
Yeah, you know, it's like.
Gross.
Yeah, it's not like the best area.
No,
probably.
It's not the best area to be like, yeah, let me just take my shoes off. But I definitely, yes, I think like going into, just like getting people out into our parks is like our goal, and however we can help people feel safe and.
Where did you say people could see events at?
On the city parks, Pittsburgh's like city website.
Yeah.
There's a city parks tab.
A lot of info's on there.
Yep, and there's a whole park ranger section, and we have an interactive map section as well. So if you're not sure about like the difficulty of a trail, you can go on there and check that out as well.
That's cool.
And then we have a lot of links. I try to keep links on our Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So that's the other place that they can, and honestly, anyone can reach out anytime to ask us questions or, you know, put together an event if they want to. We're extremely open to connecting with organizations, preferably within the city doing city things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure something out. Maybe we could figure something out to do something.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That would be fun. Okay, so the ending segment that I do with everyone is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions.
Okay. I love this music.
Thank you. So Desert Island Questions is whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island and use until they starve to death and die. So the first category is 3 movies. So, you know, it's basically like Castaway. You get like a TV with an integrated VCR, and you get 3 movies to watch over and over and over again until you starve to death and die. I ask everyone these.
Oh no. I'm very much a like overwatcher of things too. Can they be series or no, just one movie?
Yeah, I'll give you a series.
I love Harry Potter movies.
Oh, that's great.
I can probably watch them literally all
the
day
time.
long.
Yeah.
The fact that I still have to pay for them to watch them makes me so upset. I'm like, these things have to die out eventually. Harry Potter, and then let's see. I love SpongeBob.
Okay, yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
That's good.
And then I also love chick flicks too. So we'll just throw.
There's a million good ones.
I know there is. I'm like addicted to them all.
I'm a big chick flick person.
The Proposal, I guess.
Oh, that's a good one.
More so because they go to Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska.
Come on.
Sandra, little Ryan Reynolds.
And Sandra. I'm not like super into like celebrities, but Sandra Bullock is just.
That's a moment.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
and
she's a moment.
And she can like pull off anything.
Yeah, you got Betty White in there. Yeah, it's like that's a great movie.
Solid movie. Yes.
Yeah, real good. Those are good answers. Okay. Now I usually ask people 3 books to take with them, but I'm curious to know, like, what are your 3 parks that you would tell people to visit?
Oh,
you know,
okay.
like you're like if someone didn't really frequent the parks a lot, because obviously people have their stomping grounds, but like, what are 3 parks that people might not know of that you would tell them to go to?
Frick Park would definitely be one of them.
Yeah.
More so just because of the wildlife.
Yeah.
Like it just has an array of wildlife. It has streams, and to be honest, like there's this one screech owl that literally just hangs out in this one tree all the time. And you're almost like guaranteed to be able to like see him, which I think is like kind of cool for people who maybe haven't seen an owl before. Yeah.
How big is Frick?
Frick, I think is 40 acre, somewhere around 644 acres, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 600.
Can you like navigate to pretty much all of it?
No.
Like, is there like parts obviously that are like,
there's definitely parts that you can obviously, I think that's one of the goals in Frick is to make sure that it is accessible for emergency vehicles, which it is as of now. There's definitely like some parts that are a little tighter that they have to take, like our Kubota, or it's, they have an EMT vehicle that we got trained in recently.
Yeah.
To be able to navigate the park. And then obviously I think some of it is like only foot trails though.
That's wild that it's that big.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so I think Frick Park, Emerald View Park is such another just like secret gem that I don't think many people know about. And then, it's very new, the whole section of it. And then, it'd probably be torn between like Allegheny Commons and Riverview. And I say Allegheny Commons because it's not like it's not woodsy.
My buddy loves Riverview. He said that he's never been there where there's been people. No one goes there, he says.
That's what's like crazy. There's like people, but I swear you like almost never run into them.
I'm pretty sure there's a chess table up there, and like he sent me this like majestic photo. He's like, no one's here again. And he's like, we need to just come up here real early one day and just drink coffee and play chess.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah. And so, and that's where it's like hard because Riverview is a lot like, it's so crazy how these parks are so much alike, but yet so different.
Who maintains them? Like the city, like, is it city parks organization?
Well, so it's not city parks, DPW. Department of Public Works.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's a park section and
yeah, that makes sense.
So the park, they take care of it, and then obviously the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy plays a super huge role in keeping our parks beautiful and help. I mean, without them, there would be a lot of things that don't get taken care of. So they're a great organization that we work with.
Do you guys work with like Allegheny Goatscape and stuff to like do all that? Yeah,
Allegheny Goatscape is super great as well. They come into Frick. They'll probably be dropping their schedule here within the next, I don't know when, but the Pittsburgh Park Rangers deal with them.
Yeah, I interviewed him. He's a fascinating dude.
Oh my goodness.
Gavin?
Well, I don't know him personally, but
the idea of it is like fascinating. It's amazing. The best thing ever.
And they put them in Emerald View. They put them in Frick Park. They're in Shenley Park.
They're everywhere behind the waterfront.
Yeah, they're ever, and it's just like, again, it's just so interesting to be able to handle a problem naturally.
Yeah, people were so blown away by that episode because they were like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "There's literally just a hillside of goats behind the waterfront." And they're like, "So they do what?" And I'm like, "They eat all the invasive plants that they can't get machinery down there safely to do."
Yeah,
and these goats love it. Yep. It's like they're enjoying it, and it's solving problems.
I went and hung out with them last year one time, and it was like just the most amazing thing ever in my life. It was
like, you got a mule there,
and it's like so funny watching them like stand up in the air like to get these leaves. It's like, are you that hungry?
Yeah, it's crazy, and they'll eat everything. It's definitely cool how many like interesting things we got around here.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, third category is 3 CDs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're taking it back.
Yeah, I ask everyone this. Like everyone from Sally Wiggin, I made Sally answer these. I made Edgar, I just had Edgar Snyder on.
I saw that.
I made him answer it.
CDs as in music?
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, we're going like way back.
Yeah.
I don't even have like a CD. My husband has
a CD book.
He does.
I just found mine again.
He has a whole thing of it.
Oh yeah, I still got them, mixtapes and everything.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm sad to say this, but there has to be like probably a Kids Bop one.
Oh yeah, they got all bangers there. Or now.
Now
is a little bit better than Kids Bop.
Now, that's it now. And then I feel like I had to have I've probably had Destiny's Child.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that's just like what.
Say My Name, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was on my karaoke machine. My karaoke machine had like a CD with 3 songs on it.
Amazing.
Say My Name was one of them. Can't remember the other 2, but Say My Name was the one that I just probably kept singing over and over again.
Why wouldn't you?
And then, Oh, Journey.
Oh, wow.
I feel like Journey was always a hit.
That's such a great, like, you know, variety, you know.
Well, I feel like, you know, my Boys and Girls Club had a jukebox machine.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had like a flashback, random memory come back where
Nostalgia of Journey.
And we always, Don't Stop Believing was like always the final song we played at our all night dances.
That's the best.
And we just went so hard. I mean, we didn't have voices the next day.
Yeah, one more time. Let's do it again. So
and then,
funny.
I think that was 3, right?
Probably. That's all right. I never count anyway. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
I'm not really a big like concert person.
Never been to a concert that like stuck out with you?
Well, the only one that has that, like, it was Mac Miller, which I'm like extremely grateful.
Which one?
That
Where were you at?
he came to Slippery Rock in 2000.
I went to Slippery Rock for a year. I saw Gym Class Heroes there. I saw like they always had good concerts up there.
They did. I've just never really like been super into like the concert scene.
That makes sense. I started to implement that question because it's kind of interesting to hear.
Yeah, but and that's what like I feel like I randomly went to I went to a Jessica Simpson concert when I was like super little, and I think maybe my mom took me to like the Backstreet Boys down at this.
That's good.
Stiller, like at the stadium when I was maybe I honestly can't remember if I think she did.
It was like a fever dream.
Yeah, and then I think I might have saw Nicki Minaj. Is this still?
That's a great question. I mean, that's a good one.
I think I just got home from the military, and I'm not sure I really was there to recollect what things were going on. If that makes sense.
You were just like, I'm going to have a good time. Why wouldn't you go to a Nicki Minaj concert and have a good time?
Which I'm surprised. I mean, I love Nicki Minaj. I love some of her music too. Some of like, I don't know if she has new stuff, but I listen to more of her, like her original stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
Super
like,
Bass and all that.
Yeah, I'm all here for it. Yeah,
that's good stuff.
That was, I mean, probably that one in Mac Miller was, and obviously Mac Miller going to city schools.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh yeah, I knew him.
Yeah.
Obviously did not know him at all. I went to Perry, but you know, I think we actually graduated like around the same year. So, you know, you know how kids
you can relate to that. It's like, this dude's like only one person removed from me.
And it's also so cool that he was like, you know, singing songs about our city parks now.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, and that's really, you know,
it's wild.
Yeah, and I think that's that's what kind of makes his music even more unique and, you know,
it's relatable,
more special now that like kids that are growing up in school in that neighborhood are going to grow up, you know,
for sure, in
that same location that he was singing about.
Absolutely. I mean, like, he's the only guy that's a photo of him just sitting up there.
Oh my God, look.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer. Mac Miller's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm happy I got to see him.
Yeah. Okay, third to last question is something called the death row meal. So the death row meal is whenever you get, before you get put to death, you get your last meal. You ever read them articles? They're like real gruesome. It's like, you know, they'll give serial killers their last meal. I don't know why I asked this question, but it's fascinating. What is your favorite appetizer, main course, and a dessert? You could pick it from anywhere.
Okay, appetizer. Oh no, I'm kind of torn between like bang bang shrimp and just like pretzels.
Pretzels, like a hard pretzel or soft pretzel?
Soft pretzels. Okay, yeah. But then it like completely just ruins my dinner.
Yeah.
But I think if I had it,
bang bang shrimp. Where's that from?
The Hard Rock.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Has it?
Yeah, I know there's other couple places. I feel like I've had it somewhere else, but those are good answers.
Yeah, I really like. But then again, I also like nachos too.
You can have all three.
I feel like I'm just a very like, I'm picky, but then again, I have like moods.
Yeah.
And depending on the restaurant you go to.
That makes sense.
And then my main meal.
Yeah.
I'm also, again, very picky. So I pretty much eat the same thing. I either eat like salmon or chicken Alfredo.
Those are your go-tos?
Yeah.
That's
those
good.
Those are probably all, and a hamburger.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can't really mess up a hamburger.
Yeah, you just can't. That's good. That's what Edgar picked.
I feel like that's like
Edgar picked a Five Guys burger and fries for his meal, for his death row meal. Edgar Snyder picked it.
I love that as Five Guys too. Like not even like a legit restaurant.
Yeah,
like
he was like, that's the best part about it. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah,
it's like,
true.
Good point. What about a dessert?
I've come to like cheesecake.
Okay, that's a pretty big. That's a regular answer on here. Everyone picks a cheesecake.
I can't say I think I've only dabbled in cheesecake like over the past 5 years though.
Okay,
I'm like slowly becoming trying, like I just started eating pasta salad.
Oh, wow. So you're like a picky eater.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I think, but I'm like, I think because I hit 25, I'm like opening my horizons a little bit.
You just got to try stuff.
Yeah. See, and that's
the thing. Is it textures that throw you off, or is it like, just.
I think it's just like I'll just say like mustard.
Yeah.
I've never tried it before. I'm not trying it ever. I'm just like I'll say that I don't like something, but I've never tried it before. I'm like one of those people.
Okay,
I'm just like not ready to try it yet.
That's fair. I respect the being forward about it. Just be like, yeah, I never tried it, but I ain't going to.
Well, it's like so funny because my husband knows that now, and if people ask me if I like want that, if I like try, and I'll be like, yeah, no, I don't like that, and he's like, have you ever eaten it? And I'm like, well, no, but
I know I won't like
I know I won't like it. Even though who knows, obviously, because pasta salad's like amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
You were missing out for all these years.
Have you ever heard of Caplettes?
Caplettes? No. What is that? That's a place?
No, it's like a food.
Oh, no, I never heard of that.
I think I might be wrong. It's like an Italian food. It's like these little handmade things with like 3 types of meat in them.
Oh.
So my aunt like used to buy them like handmade off these old ladies, and they were every Christmas we would eat them, and I would be like, no, I don't like them. And I literally didn't eat them for. I'm so mad at myself for turning them down all these years. So like the last couple years we went there, I literally would eat as many bowls as possible.
Yeah, just gourd yourself.
Yes. I'm like, why was I?
That's all right though.
Why are we such?
At least now you know you're now you're open and you know.
Yeah, same with cheesecake. Cheesecake, it takes
cheesecake's here too. That's good. Okay, second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip to Alaska. You get to pick one snack. What is it?
One snack.
Yeah, from like a gas station.
Oh no. I really like Pringles.
Oh wow.
But I also like Twizzlers.
Those are both good answers.
I feel like you have to have like a candy and
like a sweet and a salty.
Do you ever wonder why you feel like I'm so mad at myself for being so unhealthy during car trips?
Oh yeah, I mean,
why can't I ever just be like, oh, you know what? You should eat a banana and a granola bar.
Yeah, that's literally what Edgar was talking about. He was like, I love Cape Cod chips, but my wife brings fruit, and you're like, oh, I'll go to Sheetz, and if I go on a road trip for Sheetz, I'll get Muddy Buddies, just trash that.
Well, and then their food is so good. Like I was gonna say I'll definitely when we travel for camping, I always get like chicken snack wraps.
Oh, I'm from Sheetz?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I get which 100%.
I think is at least better than candy. So I'm like, at least it's like real food.
I'm not like a picky eater by any means, but I'm a creature of habit. Like I will get chicken strips and fries places,
Oh, like the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Buffalo chicken if they got it somewhere, or burger.
Yeah.
But like I'll eat oysters and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just like what I like.
Right.
Okay. Last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Alive or dead? I feel like Steve Irwin.
Oh yeah.
Was like that's kind of like where my nickname came. Well, so Stevie is not my real name.
Yeah.
Lauren's my real name, but Stevie is because of Steve Irwin, because I didn't know my gymnastics coach's name. So I called him Steve because I thought that's maybe what his name was. And I was like trying to get his attention and he just wasn't listening. And then he was like, Stevie, that's not my name. And then it just really stuck.
Yeah.
But obviously Steve Irwin was always like someone me and my brother loved watching growing up because he loved outdoors and nature and wildlife. So I think it would be really cool to
That's such a good answer.
Have a conversation with him. I mean, and obviously look how cool his children are and his wife and how much they've done. So yeah.
His brother, but his son is like literally just like, him.
Yes.
I watched like a video clip of them like messing with the same crocodile, and it's like they look the same, how they move and everything. It's pretty cool. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Definitely a good answer, and it's fitting for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have pets yourself?
I have a cat.
Yeah. Were you like growing up, were you like one of them people that had like reptiles and stuff?
So no, my dad was like not really into that.
Okay,
my mom let my brother have a lizard once, but he got out a few times and the cat would get its tail, and I'm not sure like whatever happened to that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to be like, oh yeah, we were like reptile people, like we had all kinds of wild stuff because it was always crazy. We always had dogs, but like I had friends that would have like these huge iguanas and stuff.
No, but I think we were very much so like bringing things into the house. Like we were always like rescuing like baby birds or like snakes, and my mom got mad mad one time because my brother was watching me and we found a gardener snake and we brought it home and then we accidentally lost it in the couch. And my mom was like so upset with us and wouldn't sit on the couch until it got thrown away. And she like still believes that it's like growing into an anaconda in our ceilings in our house, but obviously it was a garter snake. So
oh my god!
It's probably just found its way outside. It obviously never died in the house because you never could smell it.
Yeah,
so
it got out somewhere.
Yeah, but we were always one to definitely like bring animals like in the house, which was never like baby bunnies.
I know you're just like hoping that. I remember we would take like robin eggs that we would find that fell and like put it in a towel in front of like the register, and you're like, this is gonna be a bird.
Yeah,
and then it would just never happen.
Or they would. Most of them, unfortunately, would die. We just weren't the. I think like we found super baby bunnies, and my brother said that I accidentally killed them. I covered them too much with the towel, but. I was so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're young. Come on now. You're trying your best.
I think a lot of it was the cats, too. Like, the cats would bring home stuff that weren't dead.
Yeah.
So then we would be, like, trying to... like, one time my cat brought a snake in, so I put a Band-Aid around it, which I'm not sure was the best. I probably put Neosporin on it as well, which I'm not sure is probably the best practice for a snake.
It's like, as a young person, though, like, that's, you know, your heart was there.
Yeah, it makes...
And look, it's full circle. It's like you're city park ranger now. You know, you work with this wildlife all the time. That's cool. Now, before I even forget though, take a second and like kind of plug the Instagram, plug the website, how people could follow you and, follow along with that.
I think it's just City of Pittsburgh is the website. And then you can just kind of find the City Parks tab.
Yeah.
And then there's a Park Ranger tab in there. And that's, the City Parks tab has a abundant amount of resources, has all of our parks, has what amenities they have. So that's like a great resource that I don't think is utilized enough. Also 311, whether you call it or whether you put it into MyBurg app, is a great way for if you see issues in your parks or just around the city at all. That's where you can submit a 311 report, which is super important because it gets your issue documented.
Yeah.
And document is obviously key to get things resolved.
Yeah.
So we always recommend that because if we're notified as well, we also submit that in a weekly report. So obviously.
Yeah, it keeps it.
Yep.
You start the process.
Yep. And having everything documented is super important to get things taken care of. And then obviously our Instagram is PGH Park Rangers. And that's probably where we are
most active
with sharing what we're doing and seeing. So, and we would love to connect with everyone on there. And then City Parks has an Instagram as well too. But ours is PGH Park Rangers. So
there you have it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming over and talking to me about what you do.
No, thanks. It was so much fun.
It's definitely interesting to learn about it. As we were saying before, I don't think a lot of people know about it yet.
No, they don't. And so that's why this is extremely important to get us out there and just get us seen and get us connected with more people, whether you're in the city or not. If you're outside of the city and you're coming in the city parks, you at least know where to find us or contact us if you do need something in a park. So
absolutely. Everyone else that's listening, appreciate it as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things in our city. But thank you for listening. Call you right back.